Hi there. Today I'm going to share with you some of my tips and techniques and strategies to consistently earn $1,900 per week.
Hold up. $1,900 a week? Let's talk about this. What's up everybody? It's Will with Atlanta X Driver, and in this video I want to break down Rideshare Guy's video. Now, before I really get into this, I have the utmost respect for Rideshare Guy. The guy who is talking, his name is Jay. He's not Rideshare Guy, but he's a big-time driver, and really what I want to say is I have nothing against Rideshare Guy. I am pretty much all for what he does. What I really want to, just inform you guys, and what I want you to get from this video is that you won't make this money driving here in Atlanta, just driving. The only way to make this money here in Atlanta, as an Uber X, as an Uber X driver, for Plus, for SUV, the other tiers, I don't have any knowledge of that, so I can't speak on that. But you can't make this money as just a regular Uber X Lyft driver. But you can make a decent amount in the short term. But in my last video, I kind of talked about Uber and Lyft's payments and how things have changed and how it's made it really harder for us to earn money. And also how this should be a stepping stone. This shouldn't be your full-time gig, at least not for the long run. This is by no means a 40-year career. When you see videos like this, and there are tons of them out there, how to make $1,500 a week, how to make, even the ones that are like $1,000 a week and they say it's easy, it's easier than, bartending for 12, 14 hours straight. It's easier than working in a warehouse. It's easier than working at McDonald's in the short term, but the expenses will catch up to you. So really what I'm going to do is just break down this video really for Atlanta drivers, people driving in my city that I know very well and that I've been driving in for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in August. I can't believe it. Without further ado, let's get into it. Basically, I've already edited the video on my Adobe, and I'm just going to be pausing and commenting as I go through the video.
So, hey everybody, let's get right into it. Number one secret or tip or technique that I use is I'm a workaholic. So I work 45 to 60 hours every single week that I'm working.
45 to 60 hours is pretty much what I consider full-time. Even if you're driving 40 hours, I don't consider that driving full-time, because really to make a full-time income driving, you're probably looking at 50 hours here in Atlanta. But let's go ahead and see his schedule. Another thing I want to point out, he is driving in California. They get paid higher rates, as you'll see. The surges are a lot better there. The demand is huge. Their cities are so much bigger than Atlanta. Atlanta's, getting bigger, as we all know, or at least us that are living here with traffic. But there's nowhere near the demand that there is in California. Okay.
So here's my schedule.
Okay, so looking at his schedule, he's working 7 hours. I'm really not even gonna talk to this. What I want you to look at is how much he's earning per day. I don't know about you guys, but driving full time, $200 are reserved for Friday and Saturday, maybe Sunday at that. I've had one $200 Monday. I really just hit perfectly everything, airport rides and all that stuff. But really, a feasible goal to, one, not burn yourself out, and two, to be able to do in under 8 hours. So my recommendation is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Those are your money days. Those are when people are going to the airport, people coming back from the airport, things are happening. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you can kind of be lax on those days. So Monday I always try and make at least $120, $150 is usually what I go for. Still obviously short of $200. Like I was saying, I reserved the $200 for really Friday and Saturday because you can crank it out Saturday night, Friday night, and then there's always a good surge Friday morning. Tuesday and Wednesday, I either take it off, like I'm kind of doing today, or Wednesday, actually today's Monday, But Tuesdays and Wednesdays I'll kind of take off or relax, just work in the morning. There's no way you're gonna make $200 Tuesday and Wednesday if you work 7 hours. You'll probably have to work like 12 to 14 if you want to get close to $200. And I can tell you right now, doing that, you know, this guy said he's a workaholic. You're gonna burn out. You're gonna burn out so fast unless you're extremely patient. And even if you don't burn out, your car's gonna burn out. That's something he does not talk about at all. He doesn't talk about how much. He doesn't talk about what kind of car he's using, even though after doing some research, he drives a Prius, which is good. So his gas expenses are low, but gas prices in California aren't cheaper than they are here in Georgia. I promise you that. The insurance, the taxation, you know, they pay a lot of taxes over there in California. And just the cost of living is, I would say in LA, easily double than it is here in Roswell, if not double that in Buckhead and the higher end parts of Atlanta. He doesn't really, you know, talk about that stuff. So please, 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 when you watch these videos, keep in mind where your money goes. Like, yeah, he at the end of this, okay, you can see from the schedule he's made $2,000. That's not going straight into his bank account. So just keep that in mind.
Number 2 is I work a very disciplined schedule. So Monday through Thursday, I always work from about 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. So I get in that morning shift. And then in the afternoons, I usually work from 3 or 4 until 7 o'clock. All right, so that's about 7 hours a day.
All right, so I'm going to pause right there. The profitable hours here in Atlanta, if you don't want to work night shifts, which I rarely do, are from 5 o'clock in the morning till about 10:30, 11 o'clock. Now, if you're mixing in Uber Eats, the lunch rush, which usually happens before 12, but you can work between 12 and 1 and still be busy. That's a whole separate thing. I don't do Uber Eats anymore, and I'm going to do a response video to my, you know, Uber Eats tips why I don't do it anymore. But the hours are very different. You know, he just said he's working 7 hours. Mondays I'll work, you know, 8 or 9 to get to that 150, and then he's gonna let's see what he has to say about the weekend hours.
Then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, well, Friday and Saturday, I'll work about 10 hours a day. I'll start in the morning at 6, and I'll usually go until 4, 5, or 6, and I'll take a 1 or 2 hour break in the middle of the day. And then Sundays, if I work a full 7 days, I'll only work like 6 hours and take the afternoon off. I'll usually work from 6 until 10. So those are the hours where I can maximize prime time. I'm going to ensure that I get my bonus through Lyft, and I give myself ample break time in there for exercise and working out and things like that.
I would not do those hours, especially with summer coming up. So the nice thing about working when the sun's not up, especially in the summer, is it's nice and cool. That's why I tell everybody that asks me when should I drive or when are the best hours, I tell them to drive, you know, if you can wake up early, or if you know, if you just want to get into that hustle mindset, work 5 to 10 at least, 5 to 10:30, 5 to 11. Just like mornings are my bread and butter. Afternoons are like, you know, if I just need to get that extra step. So same thing with the weekends. I've already talked about this in other videos, but there are changings of the guard, especially on Saturday morning and Sunday morning. So, you know, there are late night drivers who are getting the surges, but Saturdays I'll still work not 5, more like 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning until maybe noon. And you will stay busy through that time, and there will be surges because a lot of those drivers stay up until 3 or 4, and then there's like nobody. So you come in, take part in the surge, and there are a lot of airport rides in during that time, which is good. But really Monday through Thursday, the only time I would recommend driving in the afternoon would be 3:30, 7 or 8 at the latest. Anytime beyond that, unless there's an event going on, it's going to get a little slow.
Number 3, very important, get your bonuses. So I've already talked a little bit about how important it is to drive in the morning and the afternoon, and that's to get the Lyft bonus, the power driver bonus. I get that every single week. Right now that's at $350. That's an extra 20 to 25% of my earnings. And then Uber has their bonuses, which sometimes I go for and sometimes I don't, depends what they're offering. Let's take a look now at this specific week, and I'll show you how I approach it.
So here's another huge difference. Do you see that bonus for Lyft? $350. Now, he does have to do 180 rides, but obviously the market is good enough for that. I'm going to show you what our bonus is here in Atlanta. It's still pretty decent. I always go for the the $85 one. But okay, so I have it highlighted, excuse me, on our highest one, which is $255. That's a little less, it's $95 less than theirs. Okay, now again, we only have to do 110, but I think the difference of 70 rides is kind of ridiculous. So they have higher bonuses over there. So yeah, it's easier to make the bonuses over there.
Number 4 is maximize your long rides on the weekend. So Friday mornings, but it's really Saturday and Sunday mornings, you're going to get a lot of people that want to take longer rides.
Maximize your long rides whenever you can. Every morning that I work, and I'm lucky too. I live in Roswell. Roswell is one of the best places to start or just be in. Like anywhere Roswell Road, anywhere right near 400 and that like vertical strip of the city. But every time I wake up, I always set both my destination filters straight to the airport. And guess what? All of my rides, almost, I would say 95% of the time, probably higher, because last week all of them except for one went straight to the airport. Boom. Easy 23 to 30 bucks if I go up to Alpharetta. In less than 40 minutes because there's no traffic like between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, which is why I wake up that early.
And there's no traffic. No traffic until about noon. At least that's the way it is here in the San Francisco Bay Area.
There's no traffic in Atlanta between... So Atlanta has some of the worst traffic. There's always going to be traffic. How do you avoid it? Drive late at night, early in the morning. But really, Waze does a decent job. I use Waze. It does a decent job of taking you on routes that are less congested. But definitely, you have to know the HOV lanes like the back of your hand. You have to know the back roads really well, at least in your area. In the city, you know, it's kind of all relative. But there's nothing you can do about traffic in Atlanta.
So you want to love those long rides because they can really make your week. When you're driving at 60 miles per hour, 70 miles per hour on the freeway for 30 minutes, wow, you're making as much money as you can possibly make as a driver. Number 5 is go for your goal. My goal is always to make at least $100 in tips, okay? So if you drive for Lyft, Lyft passengers, they have been paying tips for a long time now. They're used to paying tips. So if you really work your passengers, you can make some decent money, $100. That's like 4 or 5% of your weekly earnings in tips. So treat your customers with care. Tourists tend to tip the best. Airport runs, you tend to get more tips there. And sometimes you're just surprised by somebody who just throws you a $10 tip, right? So always be pleasant, always engage. Have them become your best friend, really enjoy, authentically enjoy their company, and people will be obliged and they'll want to give you a tip.
So tips, it is possible to make $100 a week in tips. Like he was saying, the best way to go about that is just to have a positive attitude. Really, with my ratings increasing and my tips increasing, the only things I've changed besides, you know, having a clean car and being able to be a decent driver is when they get in the car, you know, I always confirm that they're my rider. I say, hey, how are you doing? And then I say, you know, if there's anything you want to listen to, just let me know. And I'll also ask them, you know, so you doing okay today? If it's the weekend, I'll be like, you got any fun plans for the weekend? Or if you don't want like a yes or no answer, you can be like, what do you got going on this weekend? I swear, as soon as like a decent conversation is started, it doesn't even have to be like 4 or 5 minutes. They'll always rate you 5 stars, and you're looking at a so much higher percentage of getting a tip just from be nice to start a conversation. It doesn't have to be something crazy. And plus, like early in the morning, like, okay, so yeah, the airport rides, they always tip. And then they don't really want to talk early in the morning, so it's really easy to get 5 stars if you just like, hey, how's it going? Good, good. Okay, just let me know if you need anything. Shut up. It's easy. All right.
Okay, so number 6 is cancel on rides that are not profitable.
Okay, so for Lyft, the acceptance rate is kind of hard to keep. So you have to keep 90% acceptance rate to get any of the Lyft bonuses. That's been about 5 cancellations for me. Now, that's because I only go for the $85 one. Now, if you're doing the big one, you can probably cancel 10 or I forget what 10% of, what was that, 110 rides? But still, that's not a lot. And he's going to go into it. I'm probably going to skip this out, but he talks about canceling on non-profitable rides. Well, the only way you can see is with Lyft is when you say that you're there. But then, you know, if it's not profitable and you cancel, it screws up your acceptance rate. So what I do is I drive for both Lyft and Uber. Now, if I do the, you know, you press on Lyft, you don't accept the ride, but you say that you've arrived to see where they're going. If it's not profitable, as in it's like right down the block, you know, actually, let me rewind. So if the ride is within 3 miles, I will pretty much always take it, unless it's heavy traffic and it's going to take me like 25 minutes to get there. Usually the rider can see that, and I don't know any riders who are going to wait 20 plus minutes for a ride, but they are out there, so you can either call on them or you can switch to the other app. So if the rider's with Lyft and they're 20 minutes away and they want to wait, and you've called and texted them asking them to cancel, and they're like, oh no, you cancel, you can be like, okay, just hang up on them and then turn on your Uber app and try and get a better ride. But canceling there's definitely an art and a balance to it. I'll probably make another video on it since things have been updated, but with Uber, I really don't care. Like, I've gotten like a 25% cancellation rate on it. Nothing's happened. But again, if you know where to drive and when to drive, you really don't run into that problem.
Number 7, pretty obvious one. You want to stay away from traffic. Number 8 is something that I've learned after doing this for about a year and a half, is get 8 hours of sleep.
I usually get about 6 hours of sleep, but really on top of that, it's just knowing your body and having a set schedule. Obviously, you came into this business to make money. So you need to set your sleep schedule to, 1, take care of your health and take care of your body so you can keep working, and 2, around your work schedule. So, you know, if you're getting up in the morning, you can't really stay out late. Or if you do, it's going to bite you in the butt. You know, sometimes I'm in bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock. I feel like an old man, but that's what I got to do to get up at 4:45, 5 o'clock and be ready by 5:30 at the latest. But yeah, get as much sleep as you can. Definitely agree with that. Okay, so here are his screenshots of the pay statements. Obviously, it's over $2,200. Lyft alone, he's already cranked out almost 40 hours, but $1,600, almost $1,700 in 40 hours. I'm gonna say Terry Tips is probably our best Lyft driver here in Atlanta. He makes, I would say, anywhere from 600 to 800 in that same time span, and he is a Lyft pro here in Atlanta. So, you know, I love the energy, I love the positivity. Is this possible in Atlanta, just driving for UberX? Hell no. Alright, 561 in 40 hours is definitely possible. You can definitely do way more than that. I would say that's kind of low. If you're working 37 hours, you should probably be making $600 plus. Let's say between 600 and 700.
Okay, and what's the final thing? Express some gratitude for having a great week, for having an opportunity to make some money, and for meeting a lot of wonderful people while you were driving them around.
Okay, so yeah, I'm definitely going to cut that. So we should definitely be grateful, if we're smart about it, to have an opportunity to basically have an entryway to start our own business. This is your business. If you're becoming an Uber driver, Lyft driver, this is your business. You do not work for Uber, you do not work for Lyft, they work for you. Now, is it easy to get all that twisted? Is it easy to lose a lot of money and get into this business not knowing what you're doing? Of course it is. I see it all the time. That's why there's so much turnover in this. And again, this is why it's a stepping stone. But going off of what he said, really the best way to express gratitude is to reward yourself. The best way to get better at things and to progress is to reward yourself. Not to get too much into this, but there's this extremely smart businessman called Charlie Munger. If you've never heard of him, he's basically Warren Buffett's right-hand man. If you've never heard of Warren Buffett, you need to read a book. But Charlie Munger has a book called The 25 Cognitive Biases. And one of them is the reward bias, which is pretty much the most powerful one besides like the general emotional bias. If you ever want to sell something, you want to, target people's emotions, make them feel that they need to get it either for themselves or a loved one through emotion. But anyway, this is like, kind of going off into goal setting. But, if you really if you kick ass one week, yeah, you've got to hustle, you've got to get paper, you've got to make some money, but reward yourself. Like, take a day off and go do something fun with your significant other, your family, go on a vacation, plan for vacation, save up for that. You should always be setting goals and making them somewhat reward, not just like, all right, I'm going to make $1,000 this week. Next week's going to be the same and the same and the same. You're going to get tired of it, because that's what I used to do when I first started. I was just like, all right, I just need money. That's all I care about is money. Maybe if you're like that, you should probably change your mindset, because money is not everything. But you should definitely set goals that, make you happy. Even if it's just like a cool looking t-shirt at the end of the week. It's something to look forward to, and it's something to get you through meeting all those wonderful people and giving them rides. I can't believe he said that. Okay, so I know this video went a little long. I just really wanted to break it down, but yeah, those numbers are not possible here. But anyway, I hope you liked this video. I hope I saved some of you guys, and I hope you got some value from this video. So if you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.